Well, hello and welcome. My name is Misheard with Misheard Song Lyrics Podcast. We're in Season 5, Episode 232, and we're doing our first ever Johnny Cash. The misheard lyric is, and it's birds, birds, birds. And the correct lyrics is, and it burns, burns, burns. No, we're not doing a story or misheard song lyric about the 1963 Alfred Hitchcock horror thriller called The Birds. It's Johnny Cash's song Ring of Fire. All right. So the reason why I wanted to do this, first of all, I haven't done a country. I don't think I've done a country misheard song lyric yet. And second, I just recently did a karaoke stint at a Eagles Lodge last night in a small town in the United States, northwest side of the United States, for those that are listening outside of the U.S., called Washington State. And I was pleasantly surprised at how welcoming everyone was at the Eagles Lodge. The karaoke jockey, or we call him affectionately the KJ, was amazing. Sound system was amazing. And there was this big dude that went up. He had a teardrop tattoo next to his eye, which, you know what that means for some. Look it up on Google if you don't. And he went up and sang Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire. Did pretty good. Not the best I've heard, but I give him a solid B. He did pretty good. And I thought, this would be a perfect misheard song lyric. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's dig right in. So Ring of Fire is a song made popular by Johnny Cash when it appeared on his 1963 album called Ring of Fire, The Best of Johnny Cash. Let's talk about Johnny Cash first before we start delving in about the song, who wrote it, and all that jazz. So John R. Cash, born J.R. Cash, back on February 26, 1932, and passed away back on September 12, 2003. Wow, so that's already 21 years ago. Time is flying. He was an American country singer, songwriter, and very beloved. Most of Cash's music usually had some themes of sorrow, they say moral tribulation, redemption, especially songs later in his career. He's also known for his very deep, calm bass, baritone voice, beautiful voice. And they said it's a distinctive sound of the Tennessee Three backing band, characterized by a train-like chugging guitar rhythms and a rebelliousness. I love that description. Coupled with an increasing somber and humble demeanor, free prison concerts, and a trademark all-black stage wardrobe, which earned him the nickname the Men in Black, or the Man in Black. The Man in Black is about a movie. Never mind. Man in Black. So who was he? He was born to poor cotton farmers in Kingsland, Arkansas. He rose to fame during the mid-1950s in the rockabilly scene in Memphis, Tennessee, after serving 4 years in the Air Force. I didn't know he was in the Air Force. He began his concerts by simply introducing himself as, "Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. Hello, I'm Johnny Cash," with his deep baritone voice, followed by Folsom Prison Blues, one of his signature songs. And then he would go into other signature songs like the one we're talking about today, Ring of Fire, I Walk the Line, Get Rhythm, and Man in Black. He also recorded numerous numbers like One Piece at a Time, A Boy Named Sue, and a duet with his future wife June called Jackson. And we hear that duet a lot, especially where I live, in a lot of the honky-tonk bars or bars in general here in what's called the Northwest. And he also did some railroad songs, one called Hey Porter, another Orange Blossom Special, and a third Rock Island Line. And then, interesting, he kind of switched right before his passing. In the late stages of his career, he covered songs by contemporary rock artists. Here's some to just name a few. He did Hurt by 9 Inch Nails. He covered Rusty Cage by Soundgarden, and Personal Jesus by Depeche Mode. I got to listen to those because I did not know he did that. And then one of his best-selling music has always been, a lot of his songs that we're talking about today, I Walk the Line and so forth. So he is definitely beloved. He has sold more than 90 million records worldwide. And his genre is not just country. It's rock and roll, rockabilly, blues, folk, and gospel, and of course some of the contemporary covers that he just did. His crossover appeal earned him the rare honor of being inducted to the Country Music, Rock and Roll, and Gospel Music Hall of Fame. So 3 different Hall of Fames he was a part of. I don't think anyone has done that yet or since. His music career was dramatized in the 2005, so 19 years ago already, movie called Walk the Line, in which Cash was portrayed by American film artist Joaquin Phoenix. He got a nomination for an Oscar, didn't win it, but Reese Witherspoon, who played June Carter, did get the Best Actress Oscar at that time. So let's begin back to the song. So what I didn't know about the song was who wrote it. It was actually written by Cash's future second wife, June Carter Cash, and a Merle Kilgore. It was originally recorded as Love's, in parentheses, Ring of Fire, by June's sister Anita Carter on her 1963 album Folk Songs Old and New. And here's just a snippet of her version. Totally different, right? And you'll see why in a second because of what Cash did, of course, adding some different instruments. So who's Wyatt Merle Kilgore? Apparently he was born on August 9th, 1934, and then passed away on February 6th, 2005. So about in a couple days, that would be his anniversary of his death about, 19 years ago. He was an American singer, songwriter, and manager. He was born in Chickasha, Oklahoma, and was raised in Shreveport, Louisiana. At the time of his death, he was the personal manager of Hank Williams Jr. Some royalty there. He was also a distant cousin of the Carter sisters through their maternal grandmother, Margaret Kilgore Addington. So that's the connection between him and June Carter and then June's sisters. So some say that June Carter had seen the phrase, "Love is a burning ring of fire." It was actually underlined in an Elizabethan poetry book owned by her uncle, A.P. Carter. So that kind of got the inner workings of, there's got to be a song in that. She then worked with Kilgore, so we know that they're related as a cousin, on writing a song inspired by that specific phrase as she had seen her uncle do in the past. She had written, quote unquote, "There is no way to be in that kind of hell, no way to extinguish a flame that burns, burns, burns." There's that lyric in there, as we now know the misheard lyric is birds, birds, birds. Did you know that the song was, again, like I said, originally recorded by June's sister Anita Carter? And we got to hear the difference. That was actually on Mercury Records' album Folk Songs Old and New in 1963, as, like I said, in parentheses, Love's Ring of Fire. Now, her version released by Mercury was a single and was featured what they call a pick hit in Billboard magazine. And after hearing Anita's version, apparently Johnny Cash claimed he had a dream where he heard the song accompanied by Mexican horns. Okay, we're getting somewhere, right? It was that mariachi horn sound he had been hearing, because why was he hearing that? It was getting popularized by Herb Alpert and his Tijuana Brass Band in 1962 with his hit song, The Lonely Bull. So he's like, oh, I wonder if we can put mariachi band horns to that. And Cash said, quote unquote, "I'll give you about 5 or 6 months, and if you don't hit with it, I'm going to record the way I feel it," which he did. And Cash noted that adding the trumpets was a change to his basic sound. And apparently a Mother Maybelle and the Carter sisters actually are featured in Cash's recording Sing Harmony. So they actually helped with his version of the song. Cash tinkered with a few of the original phrases in Anita Carter's version of the song, and Cash's own daughter, Roseanne Cash, said, "The song is about the transformative power of love, and that's what it has always meant to me, and that's what it always means to the Cash children." I love that. And then the one thing that was also, I thought, an interesting thing was back in 2004, Merle Kilgore, who again had shared the writing credit with his cousin June Carter, said, we should use this song and get a licensing with the Hemorrhoid Cream Preparation H. Wouldn't that be funny, him using this song as Ring of Fire? When he would perform the song live, Kilgore would often, like they say, mock dedicate the song to the makers of Preparation H. Well, apparently June's heirs were not like-minded and did not agree with his joke. I bet you they would have made a lot of money. Anyway, they refused to allow the song to be licensed for the ad, so it never would happen. But what a perfect song for Preparation H, right? So Cash's first wife, Vivian, also said, quote unquote, "One day in early 1963, while gardening in the yard, Johnny told me about a song that he had written with a Merle Kilgore and Curly while out fishing on Lake Casitas. I'm going to give June half credit on a song I just wrote," Johnny said. "It's called Ring of Fire." "Why?" I asked, wiping dirt from my hands. "The mere mention of her name annoyed me. I was sick of hearing about her. She needs the money," he said, avoiding my stare. "And I feel sorry for her." She also says, "To this day, it confounds me to hear the elaborate details June told of writing that song for Johnny. She didn't write that song any more than I did. The truth is, Johnny wrote that song while pilled up and drunk about a certain private female body part. All of those years of her claiming she wrote it herself, and she probably never knew what the song was really about." Ooh, that is interesting. Ring of Fire. I'm not even going to say what I think. You can look it up, but I think I know what he was singing about if he's talking about the Ring of Fire. So I'll leave it at that. So how did it do? Cash's version became one of the biggest hits of his career, staying at #1 on the country chart for 7 weeks. It was certified gold by the RIAA back on January 21st, 2010, and has sold over 1.2 million digital downloads. It's also named the 4th greatest country song of all times by the Country Music Television, while Rolling Stones itself listed it as the 87th greatest song of all time and the #1 greatest country song of all time. That's big. In 1999, the 1963 recording of the song by Johnny Cash on the Columbia Records label was inducted to the Grammy Hall of Fame. Cash's version of Ring of Fire was never released as a single in the UK. However, back in 1993 and 94, it gained significant radio airplay in the UK after it was used in a popular television commercial for Levi's. In 2005, Liverpool FC fans began singing the song at matches during the run up to that year's Champions League final, and has been a staple song for the team's fans ever since. I didn't know that. And then interesting thing is, since 2004, another sports team called the Calgary Flames of the NHL, National Hockey League, also use a song as a victory song after every home win. There you go. Last part I want to share, well, actually a couple of things. Covers, lots of covers, many covers of this song has been produced, and it's the most successfully commercial version of it was done by Eric Burden and the Animals. Check it out on YouTube or just look it up. Their version was recorded at the end of 1968 and made it to top 40 in 4 countries. Then in 1970, Mr. Ray Charles released a version on his album called Love Country Style. And then several more. Dwight Yoakam covered it on his debut album, Guitars, Cadillacs, etc., etc. Punk rock band Social Distortion covered it in their 1990 self-titled LP. And then in 91, Frank Zappa had a go at it, but did it reggae-style live version on his album, The Best Band You Never Heard in Your Life, after claiming to have met Johnny Cash in the elevator before the show and inviting him to perform the song with his band that night. Did he show up? He did not, but the band played the song anyway. And then in 1999, June Carter herself would record her own version of the song for her album Press On. And then the one I know of was back in 2010 as a single back in December 6th of that year, was a cover done by Alan Jackson with guest vocals from Leanne Womack. I love that version. It served as the lead-off single to his 34 #1s compilation album and peaked at 45 in the Hot Country Songs, becoming his first single to miss the top 40 since Just Put a Ribbon in Your Hair peaked at 51 in 2004. That's interesting. It was his last single released by Arista Records. And then a ska band by the name of Swim, Herschel Swim, covered it on their album Burn, Swim, Burn, as well as a Swedish rockabilly band, the Go-Getters, recorded it as a cover on their 2017 album Love and Hate. And then last but not least, if you go on YouTube, there's a lot of uploads of it, but the prominent one was done by the Johnny Cash team, I'm guessing. It was uploaded back on November 4, 2016, so almost 18 years ago, or actually 8 years ago. Sorry, 8 years ago. And it's now at 7.4 million hits. That's crazy. So his legendary popularity lives on. So again, it's not about birds, birds, birds. It's burns, burns, burns. And it's the Man in Black, Johnny Cash. If you have great suggestions like this misheard song lyric, please send it to any of our sites like X, formerly of Twitter, Facebook, of course, Instagram, or just send me a easy, simple, old-fashioned email at misheard, that's MISSHEARD songs @gmail.com. Till then, keep singing those songs wrong. Bye.